Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 27th Township Committee meeting of Long Hill Township. Would everybody please rise? Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Megan, would you kindly read the statement of presiding officer?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call-in information were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel, Morris Daily Record, and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda. Failure of the governing body to provide a live broadcast of this meeting or technological problems encountered during the meeting that affect remote viewing and/or participation will not invalidate this meeting or any action taken, including but not limited to the adoption of any ordinances, resolution, or motion.
Thank you, Megan. Would you please kindly take roll?
Committeeman Lavender,
Present.
Committeeman Verleza,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey.
Yes, here.
Mayor Pasurcia.
Present.
And do you want to make a comment about
So,
Woman Reichert-Align?
I will. So effective today, Committeewoman Aubrey Reichert-Eline is stepping down. I don't think that's a shock to anybody. She kindly stayed on through the transition into the new year, and we thank her for it. She did an incredible job, and I think dragged us a little bit forward, sometimes kicking and screaming, but we got there. Aubrey has kindly agreed to serve in some capacity. We haven't figured out what the title will be. I'll work with Jack or Megan as to what it will be, but it won't be on a regular basis. It'll be on an ad hoc as needed for certain items. She's very good with detail, and she cares very much about the town. And I think I speak for everybody up here. We love her. We wish her well, and she's not going anywhere. She'll still be a bee in our bonnet. I don't know if anybody else wanted to say anything, or we can proceed.
Yeah, just thank you, Aubrey, for your service.
All right. So what we're going to do now, which we've discussed in the past doing, we'll open up the meeting to the public for remarks or statements pertaining to agenda items only. There will be a public statement later. Ooh, I apologize, and it's even in red. Megan didn't yell at me. It was Randy there. We are going to have an intermission to hold our Board of Health reorg meeting, so can I have a motion to recess?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so
have
at
a
this
second
point,
set
yes, I
agenda?
say, yep.
All right. Everybody have a second set agenda for the Board of Health?
Megan doesn't have to read, or does she?
No, I don't have to read it again.
Okay. Okay. At this point, so we're going to take an oath of office for the appointed members?
No, just got an oath for Vic.
Let Megan take it over.
All right.
Madam Clerk, can you
gonna
take
let-
it over?
All right,
You be
I'm gonna
quiet.
call-
I'm the mayor.
I'm going to call
Madam
the,
Clerk, can you take over?
okay,
Go.
I'm going to call the Township of Long Hill Board of Health 2026 reorg meeting to order at 7:38 p.m. This year we'll be reappointing Committeeman Verleza to the Long Hill Township Board of Health. So we're going to do your oath of office. I'm going to pose it as a question, all right, Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that you'll support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the Long Hill Township Board of Health according to the best of your abilities, and that you will not use your office to grant preferential treatment nor seek personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public, so help you God?
I will.
Perfect. So now that we have our Board of Health, I'll call the roll. Assessor Sherman.
Present.
Dr. Redling sent me an email that she would not be able to make it. Committeeman Lavender.
Present.
Committeeman Verleza.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey.
Here.
Mayor Pasurcia.
Present.
We're going to do the nominations for president. Can I have a nomination for president of?
I nominate Deputy Mayor Matt Dorsey.
Aren't you looking for a role for Aubrey? I'll accept.
second it, so.
Second.
Boy.
Are there any other nominations?
Matt's going, please, dear Lord,
I make a motion that we close nominations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Assessor Sherman?
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey?
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to elect Deputy Mayor Dorsey as the president?
So moved.
Second. Oop,
Sorry, Vic.
that's okay. You got it there.
Who made the second?
Vic.
Assessor Sherman?
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey?
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
All right, Deputy Mayor Dorsey, President.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that you'll support the Constitution of the United States and to the state of New Jersey, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the Long Hill Township President of the Board of Health according to the best of your abilities, and then you will not use your office to grant preferential treatment nor seek personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public, so help you God?
Yes. I
Thank
do.
you.
All right, let's see. I have a motion to appoint a Board of Health attorney for 2026. Mr. Pigeon, I have a second on that.
Second.
Assessor Sherman?
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey?
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 12th, 2025 Board of Health meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Assessor Sherman?
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
President Deputy Mayor Dorsey?
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
All right, we have Resolution 26-001, authorizing us to enter into a professional service agreement with the Visiting Nurses Association, or Community Visiting Nurses, sorry. Can I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second.
Assessor Sherman?
Yes.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza?
Yes.
President Deputy Mayor Dorsey?
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Any discussion items? Seeing none. Now opening the meeting to the public. Anybody has 3 minutes to want to comment or have any questions about the Board of Health? Madam Clerk, you see if there's anybody on Zoom when you sit back down. This is Board of Health only.
Mary Ann Noonan would like to speak.
Okay.
Good evening, Mary Ann.
That was my bad.
Oh, is it on?
Well, it's-
Okay, it's not me this time.
That was me, sorry,
Okay.
Mary Ann.
No problem. It's been me the last 2 times. Quick question with the resignation of Aubrey. Is it the same
Can we hold off-
protocol that was discussed?
Mary Ann-
No, this is only
Mary
about
Ann,
the
hold-
Board of Health.
Hold that thought for, it's gonna have to wait until the public portion at the end, or we have to adjourn the Board of Health meeting first, right?
Well, yes.
Yes.
Mary Ann, do you have any comments in regards to the Board of Health?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. Then
No.
we'll table.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Mary Ann.
stay right there, because we're gonna go into, remarks, statements, anything on the agenda. Aubrey is on the agenda, so you will be able to speak momentarily, I believe.
All right, anybody else on Zoom?
If anybody else on Zoom would like to make a public comment in regards to the Board of Health, please raise your hand now.
Thank you. Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Board of Health.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right,
So-
Board of Health over.
All right, so we're going to go to item number 4 on your agenda, if you're following in the audience or at home. So the meeting is open to the public. Remarks and statements pertaining to agenda items only. Comments and remarks, please, if you could, limit them to 3 minutes. And Mary Ann, I think the floor is yours if you're still live.
Mary Ann, I lowered your hand, but if you would like to make a comment in regards to any agenda items, Mary Ann Noonan would like to speak.
Thank you, Megan.
Yes, I apologize. I was not sure that this was the, official part in terms of the wellness committee, so I was a little confused with the professor there, you know, saying yay and nay. But back to, my, original question. What will the protocol be for the replacement of Aubrey? Is it still status quo from the last time?
All right, so, and Jack's going to correct anything I get incorrect. So, starting today, the Long Hill Township County Committee, Republican County Committee, because Aubrey is a Republican, so the Republican Committee will recommend up to 3 names.
No, they have to name
They
three
have,
names.
yeah.
They have to name, I thought
Yes.
it's
No,
not
they
up
have to name 3. If they don't name 3, you can choose anyone.
Okay, so they have to name 3, or, that's kind of an important nuance there, or the township committee could choose anybody.
Correct.
And they
Right.
have to do it within 15 days.
15 days,
So
so
their
1/5,
deadline is
and that's
February
calendar
5th.
days, right, not
Correct.
business
Calendar,
days.
That's correct.
So they will present 3 names to this body. This body will then,
This
30
body has
days.
30 days from today to name one of those 3.
February 20th.
As long as
Okay.
they name 3, you can only choose from that group.
So you guys will have to, the local committee will give you 3 names by February 5th.
Thank you.
Failure to do so, you guys can pick any registered Republican in Long Hill Township. You guys will most likely have to make the decision by February 11th unless you want to hold a special meeting because we don't have a second meeting before the 30-day deadline.
all right, so the question, even number up here, if it were, I don't think it would, but if it were to go to a 2-2 vote, what happens then?
Then it doesn't pass.
Does it go back to the local committee to make
I
the
think in
decision?
that
I thought it
case-
did.
I think in that case,
I think
since you,
that was
if
the
you don't
provision.
appoint one of the 3, it goes back to the committee, and they can then make the appointment.
Correct, the local committee.
The local committee. That's
Correct.
correct.
Which I don't think is ideally what this township committee would
But
want, so.
neither of you has to take the full 15 days or 30 days. So
Correct.
if the Republican
Local.
committee gave you 3 names tomorrow, you could
Fair enough.
have a special meeting in 48 hours and name somebody.
Okay. Mary Ann, I hope that was sufficiently clear.
Yes, thank you.
Is that it for now?
That's it.
All right, I'll see you in about an hour for item number 12.
Better not be an hour.
Would somebody please control Deputy Mayor Dorsey? Item number 5, ordinances. Ordinance 580-26, I'll read it. Its first reading introduction, abolishing the Open Space Advisory Committee so that a new Open Space Beautification Advisory Committee can be established by resolution and amending Chapter 2 of the Township Code entitled Administration. Jack, did you want to give a brief idea of what we're doing here?
Yeah, I think the title is self-explanatory. The Township Committee wants to establish a combined open space beautification committee, but the current Open Space Advisory Committee was established by ordinance, so we had to do an ordinance abolishing that committee. And later in the agenda is a resolution establishing the new Open Space Beautification Committee.
So we're going to change it from an ordinance to a resolution?
Correct.
I got you, so we don't have to go through this again in the future. And Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, are we simply taking the members of both committees? What are we doing, or are we going to have to discuss that and
Well,
provide names?
you have to appoint them. You can name those people.
You're gonna do that at the next meeting. So
At
you're
the
gonna,
next meeting?
correct, because you're going to have the second reading, public comment, and hopefully adoption of abolishing the Open Space Advisory Committee. You're establishing the Open Space Beautification Committee tonight, and then once that passes at the next meeting, hopefully, then you can appoint who you want to the beautification
yeah.
open space.
The members of those committees will not have any vested rights in being appointed to the new committee, but you can appoint the same people.
Yeah, I don't know if on the ordinance it was mayoral or not. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's going to be by resolution, and so
Township
therefore,
committee,
it
right.
will be a township committee vote as to who is on it. I know we have one person in particular I spoke with today, is very excited about being appointed. She's not currently on it. So I assured her, come whenever, which happens to be next meeting,
February 11th.
February 11th. Okay.
And the other point is, and it's in the resolution, not the ordinance, is I made it a one-year term, because that way it'll just come up every year at reorg, and you can keep track better.
Okay.
And so are we gonna notify the people who are on these two committees that it comes to an end and?
Yeah, I think maybe that was my bad. I probably didn't realize, and so that's what prompted some of the emails and texts and phone calls I received. So, how best to, maybe through the chairs?
You could,
We can
There's no
certainly,
chair, there's no committee right now.
well, I can send out an email
Fair
to the
enough.
two chairs.
To the former chairs?
Yeah, to the former chairs.
And just letting them know what we're doing. We're not abolishing it, we just thought it would be more efficient, especially
you could
as
also,
we move forward.
you could also, Administrator Barr could send an email to, the chairs and ask for recommendations as to who they feel should be reappointed to these boards.
Yeah, the only reason I hesitate on that is I don't want to leave it, well,
Because you're gonna have two boards that are coming together, so there's gonna be a lot of people.
resolution, you didn't put a limit.
No,
so-
there's no limit on how many people, but I'm just saying you're gonna have a lot of,
I think I put a ranges, but we can change that,
When we get to it,
the
okay.
resolution hasn't passed yet, but.
well, it'll be in the consent agenda, so let me double check while we're on this topic.
So just to be clear on that process, typically when you are appointed to a committee, you have to submit a volunteer form. Right?
Yes.
You have not, now,
The person I referenced, in fact, did.
Being grandfathered in, do you get past that?
Yeah, I think so, since,
I would,
Okay.
I did put between 7 and 10 members, and we could take that out of the resolution.
Do you know how many we have on each now?
I can
Vic,
tell you.
I don't know if you know from beautification or that was your recommendation, so it may be more than 10
I believe it is.
We can
That's
take
my
that out.
only,
We can just put, you know,
as needed, or,
appointed by the township committee, and you can decide.
Fair enough.
When you
All
do
right.
it. So when we get to the consent agenda, that will be, between 7 and 10 members will be deleted.
we're momentarily going to be in the consent agenda.
Right.
All right, so I think we caught up.
open
I'm sorry, Megan.
space, open space had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, well, there was a crossover, with the environmental
Right.
commission, and then Vic was the TC liaison, so 1, 2, 3,
7.
4, 5, 6, and then there was a
Okay.
few vacancies,
Well,
but,
the liaison's not a member.
right, and then beautification had. Sorry.
I mean, if we don't put a limit on it, it's not going to matter, but if you have,
Yeah, 5 or 6.
that's what I thought.
There, I don't have the number for
Right,
beautification.
so don't worry about it. We'll leave it open-ended, and we can
Yeah,
change it as needed.
Absolutely.
Resolutions
It's a
can be changed.
resolution, it's
Yep.
easy to fix.
All right, so with that being said, can I have a motion to introduce ordinance 580-26 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey?
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia?
Yes. All right, so item number 6 on your agenda, consent agenda items. Are there any resolutions that members of this committee would like pulled for further discussion? Or do you have to abstain from any?
I'm just happy Gus and Dawn, just so people know, Gus and Dawn are back at the Millington Station Cafe, which is
Thank you.
good news. I know a lot of people in town are happy about that, and I saw, and Gus and Dawn are very happy as well, so
There is
that
truth
worked
there.
out well.
And now we're pretty much immune from challenge.
Yep, yes, I mean, process was done correctly,
Yep.
and that's that.
Any other comments, or, Scott?
Yeah, what's the number on PD rules and regs? I see
51 maybe?
51, 051?
It's not on there.
Oh, it's
I
not?
didn't have it on there.
Oh,
Oh.
I apologize. I was,
Oh, oh.
I was gonna put it on the next meeting agenda so you guys could have the most updated rules and regs
Okay.
as backup. So it's only to,
50.
to 50.
All right,
The last one being the Twisters tournament.
okay then.
I'll make a motion to approve 26041 through 26050.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey,
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia.
Yes. All right, so committee reports, let's fire it up. Let's fire up this crowd. It's a little unruly out there, so we're gonna go to Vic.
All right.
Sorry, Megan, I should have given you a heads up there.
All right, the recreation update for Wednesday, January 21st is as follows. We were very busy in December with holiday programming. Our holiday house / business decorating contest winners were visited by Prize Patrol, which included Jolly St. Nicholas, his reindeer, elves, and a member from the Long Hill Chamber of Commerce. 6 families and 1 business were presented with awards and a swag bag from the Recreation Department. We had 6 amazing bakers win our cookie decorating contest. Each were awarded a custom cutting board, but some would say the real award was the cookies they got to eat as part of the contest. We were able to help the North Pole again this year to get letters to Santa from good girls and boys in Long Hill. 104 letters were sent to the North Pole and responded to by Santa's elves. The website is currently updated with photos and a video of all entries for all to see. All right, we moved on to slide number 5. All right. Winter yoga is coming up soon. Registration is still open on Community Pass for Monday and Wednesday morning classes. Now is the perfect time to take a Red Cross first aid and or CPR AED class. Tomorrow night, we are offering a basic first aid class. Still plenty of room to register on Community Pass. Class will run from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the First Aid Squad. Thank you to the Long Hill First Aid Squad for partnering up with us to run these valuable classes. On February 26th, we will offer the CPR/AED class, and registration is still open on Community Pass. At the completion of each of these classes, participants will receive a certification from Red Cross valid for 2 years. Are you planning to coach this spring? Now is the time to sign up for the Rutgers Safety class. We will hold an in-person class on March 5th from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. at the Old Millington Schoolhouse. Register now on Community Pass. This class fills up fast. Looking for something fun to do with the family while we are all huddled up each night? Register for virtual bingo. Tonight, before the meeting, we ran the first of these and crowned 5 winning families. The next one will be on February 11th at 5:30 p.m. After that, we will host one in March on the 11th at 5:30 p.m. Register online on Community Pass, and it is a free event, open to all ages in Long Hill. In Long Hill, we have the perfect backdrop for a photography contest. Enter up to 3 photos for free in our contest. Birding in Long Hill. Winners will be announced for 3/31/26. So get those cameras ready. Registration is also on Community Pass. We are accepting applications now for the summer seasonal employment. Please visit our website for more information and apply by 4/1 at the latest. Moving right along to slide number 11. Want to get more involved in our community? Consider joining the Recreation Advisory Committee and have some fun. Please contact Lisa or Bill in the Parks and Recreation Department for more information. And last but not least, don't forget Oscar the Grouch, who always reminds us to keep our parks clean. And that concludes my recreation update. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Let's go to Scott.
Okay. The planning board had its reorganization meeting last week. They elected their new officers, Don Richardson continuing as president, or as chairman rather, and Tom Jones continuing as vice chairman. We also welcomed our new board attorney, Yolanta Maziarz, who has now taken over, both for planning and zoning, actually. So that's an update there. Next, the Digital Engagement Committee is going to meet tomorrow night. One of our first objectives is to identify one recommendation to make in the first quarter. We're not going to try to boil the ocean. We're going to make one recommendation back to this committee and see if we can do something about it. So we'll report on that at the next meeting.
That's great, Scott. I appreciate it. That it?
That's it.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. Do you wanna put up a slide, or we do Alfred? Okay. Library update. Library is open Monday to Sunday. If there's inclement weather or snow, please call or look at the website before you show up, because obviously the roads are a priority, especially on a Sunday. So as I said, please call or before you go on a Sunday or any day if there's inclement weather, because the library might be closed.
For example, this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. This weekend, and as I said, the DPW is very busy. It's more important to get the streets clean than clear out the parking lot and town hall on a Sunday. So they prioritize, and that's not a priority. However, it will be at some point in time, but right now, call, and Sunday it's probably not going to be open, but call. Slide 2, daily programs and events for all ages. 3. They are doing a 2-part talk on Monet and Venice. Use this talk to prepare for a visit to the Brooklyn Museum and its ongoing Monet and Venice exhibit through February 2026. They show free movies every week. Bring a friend, no registration needed. Edie Kataman, who has presented on AI at the library before, returns to talk about how to use AI to simplify your life. Engaging, accessible, and useful. It's an in-person talk. That's on Sunday the 25th, which again, call and make sure it's happening. Last one, with an author talk with Liz Moore, the author of the wildly popular novel, The God of the Woods. Register online for the Zoom link. Thank you. And now for one of my favorite reports of the year, brought to you by Director Gallo from the DPW. Here are the year-end recycling numbers, and I'm very proud of these numbers. Styrofoam, 25,947.9 pounds. That's, oh, yeah, Scott just doing the thing for a cooler or something. 5,000 cubic yards of brush and trees, which you know we turn over and we used for mulch for around town, and other people use it in their yards. And that's another good one. Aluminum cans for St. Barnabas Burn Center, 1.5 tons. Donation total for 2025 was $1,893 to the St. Barnabas Burn Unit. That was sponsored by the Sterling Fire Company, and special thanks to Fireman Wanamaker, who spearheads that operation. And the good news is the case was about a third full already, so hopefully we can get more money this year. 2,680 pounds of used cooking oil. That's, some people aren't dumping it down their drains. That helps the sewer system too. 90 yards of grass clippings, 382 cubic yards of leaves. Electronics, computers, TVs, printers, fax machines, 28.8 tons. Then we have non-covered electronics, DVD players, VCRs, the old school stuff, 6 tons. Fluorescent bulbs, 600 pounds of fluorescent bulbs. Car batteries, 1.5 tons. We have 17 30-yard containers of single-stream recyclables, so 28 tons. So the big, what's that thing called? My mind's slipping. The
Dumpster?
dumpster, that's it. The dumpster down there, we've filled that up 17 times. There's 28 tons, in addition to what the people are recycling outside. 829.25 gallons of motor oil, and I know it's almost all used to reheat the building. So we take the recycled motor oil, and they use it to one of the furnaces to heat one of the buildings, which saves the township a lot of money as well, and it's recycled. 600 gallons of food compost, 451 Christmas trees, and the last day of curbside pickup is January 31st. You still have a tree, bring it out. It's probably a fire hazard by now, but they've recycled 451 of them so far this year. 203 pounds of plastic bags, 80 pounds of K-Cup pods, 393 tires, and as our new addition, 50 pounds of sneakers. And I know Al's working on some other things coming up in the spring that we're excited to announce when they come out. So thank you, everybody. I know it's a team effort. DPW does a great job, and thank the township. And I know other people actually come here to recycle their styrofoam because it's such a successful program. So great job, everybody. And that's all I have. There you go.
Very good.
My favorite report.
Thank you.
You know, and special thanks, I mean, Chief Gallo, DPW, and Deputy Mayor Dorsey, he kickstarted some of these things over the years. So, he's modest. He doesn't take any credit for it.
I
And,
can't.
and most of all, thank you to the residents. They embrace these things. I find it, you know, when I brought up the styrofoam, the tonnage of the styrofoam at one of the league, events down in Atlantic City, it was a big crowded room, and everybody was saying, that's not true, that's not true. So I said, oh, yeah, it doesn't sound true. It is true. So, great job. All right, just a couple of things. And I know, Scott, you said you don't want to boil the ocean, but at some point, I'm going to send you, I have an example of an email I'd like to use, which will mimic, hopefully replace what our quarterly update used to be at much cheaper, right? And I don't know if we can piggyback off of what the
Yeah, that's
the
one of-
alert system is.
That's one of the things we're considering. And seriously, when I talk about not boiling the ocean, we have so many advisory committees that come up with skady-eight number of, and nothing gets done. So if I commit to you, we'll get one thing done, maybe we'll get two or three. We want to underpromise and overdeliver, okay?
Smart. And that's a I mean, you're very good at it, and I think the other members of the committee are very good at it. Come up with some sort of thing, and then we can have, however that's done, AI or so, you plug in, Rec can go in, Randy can go in, and we can send it out on whatever
We're
regular
not doing
basis.
the AI guy for Searcia.
I can spell AI. We're also going to have, we used to do this, and then we kind of drifted away from it for whatever reason, doesn't matter. We will have the chairs of some of the respective bodies. We get the planning board update from Scott, but we will have chairs, say, from Shade Tree Committee. It's a committee now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Or no, it's a commission.
No, it's a
it's still a
commission.
commission. We kept it as
Back to
commission.
commission.
All right. Susan Jeans used to love coming in and presenting, you know, whether it was the Challenge Grant Program or something like that. So we will have a regular basis of folks coming in. There'll be brief reports. I see Matt glaring at me from the side.
Brief is the key word.
10, you know, it could be 10, 15 minutes, but that way we can engage the public and they'll know what's going on. And what we'll do, Randy, when he's about to give an ad hoc report at my request, or however you want to phrase it, tonight, and we will have a more formal presentation, I think, at the next meeting from the assessor, ASI, that we use. It is confusing, I think, some folks, and I saw a thread on Facebook. I've you know, asked in the past, please don't go to Facebook. Reach out to one of us. Reach out to Megan, reach out to Randy, reach out to any member of the township committee with questions that you have. You know, the most common comment was, oh, my assessed value went up $80,000 on a, say, $700,000 home, therefore my taxes are going up 12%. That's absolutely not true. What I am a little bit confused, we've been doing this annual assessment for 12 years, 10 years, somewhere in there. This is not new.
Yeah, we've been doing it for a long time.
So,
I'd also recommend that I save that letter every year, it goes in a file. And one of the best ways to figure out what's going on is look at last year's, look at this year's, read the paragraphs very closely to understand that there's a couple of moving parts to the equation. One is the assessment, but the other is the rate.
That's right.
And the rate usually goes down.
right. So, you know, take a, you know, breathe, Randy is CFO, in addition to being the administrator. He's going to briefly, high-level, explain it, and then we'll have a more formal presentation, I believe, at the next meeting. But Randy, if I could turn it over, administrative report, which will include a high-level explanation of the reassessment process.
I don't know about how high level it'll be. I think I have some good information. I was, in my previous life, a certified tax assessor, so I am familiar with the program. I've been involved with the program probably 15 to 20 years now. So what the purpose of an annual reassessment does is it gets the municipality as close to market value as possible. Obviously, this helps in a multitude of different ways, because at the county level, since they have multiple municipalities that they tax, they come up with an equalized valuation. So the closer you are to 100% in that equalized valuation, the less room for error, or the less room for not being taxed correctly, and getting more accurate numbers to the county. So will every property be at 100%? Obviously not, okay? Because sales occur every day. They come in at all different amounts, but I can give you some updates of the annual reassessment that just got completed. So the total assessment for the town increased just under 9%, 8.98%. In the residential area, it was 9.53%. So what does that mean to the general public? If your assessment went up below 9%, you're gonna get a little break on taxes because of the reassessment. If it went up 8.98%, 9%, you're not gonna see any kind of effect in your taxes because of the reassessment. If your assessment went above 9%, you're gonna see a slight tax increase because of the reassessment. Just because a town does a reassessment, the town does not get any extra tax dollars because of a reassessment. The school boards do not get any extra tax dollars because of a reassessment. The tax rate is derived after each of the entities come up with a budget that the budgeters approved, and that's when you get the tax rate. Each of the entities send their information to the county sends it to the State Division of Taxation, which talks with the Division of Local Government Services, and they certify a tax rate that eventually comes back to us for the tax collector to send out tax bills. So a misconception, and I've heard it for many years, a misconception is that people believe that the town is getting, in our case, 9% more in tax monies just because we do this. That's not the issue. Reassessments also help, obviously, in tax appeals, because people have a right to appeal their assessment. They should call it tax assessment appeals, but they call it tax appeals, because they could appeal their assessment to the County Board of Taxation. The burden of proof is upon the property owner to prove that the assessor is wrong. The assessor takes the information from our outside inspection company, Appraisal Systems, and certifies that list to the county, which has already been certified. There is a link that is on our website under the tax assessor's page that is a link to Appraisal Systems. They have great information there. They, in fact, have the assessment of every single property in town from 2005 to 2006. So you can see what the assessment increases were for various properties and so forth. And that's the program in general. So the tax appeal process, you can if you don't feel that your assessment is correct, I would suggest that you call the assessor first. And like I said, the certified list is already certified to the county. So he may tell you have to file a tax appeal with the county. So You have normally until April 1st is a statutory date. However, they allow towns and reassessments to file before May 1st. So if you're looking to file an appeal, you have to do it before May 1st. If you file it on May 3rd with the county, they're not gonna accept it. I don't even know what May 3rd is. It might be a Sunday fall. I know, but you understand what I'm saying. It has to be filed by May 1st, otherwise it's not gonna be assessed. So each year, it's if you will, a 5-year rotation for inspection. So each year, the company attempts to inspect 20% of the properties throughout the town. Most people are fine, they let them in. If you deny them access, or if you're not home, they'll leave you a note. Please call us for a time to make an appointment to come inspect the home. If you refuse entry to the inspection company, they will evaluate your home at the highest possible and potential assessment, taking into assumption certain facts that may or may not be there. Obviously, they won't know because the person refused entry to them.
For example, they since it has to be at the highest possible level, they make the assumption that the basement is finished, even
Very
though
possible. Yep.
in reality it may
And
not be.
The
Correct.
kitchen is updated.
And the kitchen would be updated and bathrooms updated and so forth. So, by refusing these inspectors entry, you don't gain anything over everybody else that allows them to enter. So.
Yeah, because it's already gonna be assessed at the highest possible value. So if
Correct.
you did do all these renovations, if I could just anecdotally, what triggered this 10, 12 years back is we were getting a number of appeals, tax appeals or tax assessed appeals every year, although we hadn't done an assessment in 10, 12 years. And generally speaking, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, towns tend to settle, right? They don't want to go through the legal process, legal costs, et cetera. And we had one part of town, there was a bunch of appeals that came through, we settled, and that was troubling to us. Then I would also point, there were 3 prongs here. Then there was also people that did permitted work.
And we
My
didn't-
family was one of them. And I remember, it was a substantial renovation, and our taxes didn't move, and I thought, well, that's very strange. So, and then there was a 3rd prong. We knew that there were renovations going on throughout town, non-permitted. So our tax assessor at the time said, why don't you have to do an assessment this year anyway. Why don't you go to annual? And correct me if I'm wrong, the tax appeals the township has received are nil now.
That's correct, almost nil.
Up to it, yeah.
That's gone away.
Far fewer. And, it's a much fairer system.
Correct.
Because when our ratio, which was the assessed value to market value, was around 50%, some houses were assessed at 120% and some were assessed
Right.
at 30%. So there was no uniformity and it was totally unfair.
And I'll give you
now it's a much fairer
a
system.
real-life example of how it was fair, although to my dismay, I was right. It didn't make any sense that my taxes hadn't moved. So our taxes went up $2,300 when they did the assessment. But that's fair.
Yeah, it should have been added assessment.
Right. So I was underpaying. And one house in particular I can think of which we were aware that a lot of non-permanent work had gone through, their taxes went up $5,000 and they went crazy. But that means they were underpaying relative to what they should have been, meaning somebody was paying $5,000 in aggregate.
That's right.
More than they should have.
The assessment should be what you can sell your house for.
It's not an exact science, but it's a lot closer
Right,
than.
it's a moving
So-
target. Look, there used to be what's called revaluations
Revaluation.
years ago. There still is in some communities, in some counties. But I can tell you a horror story with revaluation. I was in a town that completed a revaluation for the whole town, and in that revaluation, you have to attempt to get into every single property with a revaluation, which obviously is a lot more difficult than 20%. They got done with the revaluation. It was an outside company, obviously, and they came to present it to the town, and the market tanked. So the assessment was about 20% over assessed. Now, the town decided, well, we need to go back and look at all these numbers, because, so it costs even more money now, because now that we ask the company to do even more things. The best thing about reassessments, they can take into account those type of market increases and decreases annually, instead of waiting for either the tax board to tell you to do a revaluation or order you to do a revaluation, or waiting the 5-10 years where municipalities normally used to wait.
One thing is, the last time we did a revaluation, which was probably 20, 25 years ago, we probably had hundreds of appeals
Sure.
because, people thought it
Look, the
wasn't
goal is
fair.
everybody to pay, as
Right.
people use that trite phrase,
100%.
their fair share. But in this particular case, we get as close as we can to people paying what they should be paying on a relative basis. Everybody's property taxes in the state of New Jersey are too high. I get it, mine too. But we have to collect what we have to collect. We have to give, 63 cents on the dollar to the schools, the high school and the K-8.
Yep.
I think it's about 23% to the municipal, somewhere in there.
Right, about 20 some county. And Mayor, what you just said, and you may not even realize what you said, okay? A lot of people think a tax appeal is appealing your taxes.
That's right.
That is not correct. You cannot appeal taxes. The taxes are set by the tax rate, and it's based on your assessed value. Years ago, they used to have the tax appeal process, I think in August or September as a deadline. And so many people used to file tax appeals, say, my taxes are too high, and ignore the assessment. So that's why the law changed to have it in the beginning of the year, because you have to appeal your assessment, not the taxes.
Gotcha. And Vic, I know you were gonna say.
Yeah, if I could get, so we do reassessments here in Long Hill Township every year?
Correct.
Every year.
And what percentage of houses are done every year?
20%.
No.
but they-
20%
No,
internal,
no,
I
no.
apologize.
There's 100%
Right.
reassessment.
Right.
20% inspections.
Rotated through.
rotated through the
Understood.
town.
Therefore, after 5 years, every home has been.
So every house is reassessed
Every year.
every
property,
year,
yes.
but 20% of the homes in town will get the old letter, someone's gonna come and, wants to come and take a peek inside.
They're
Correct.
supposed to take a
Okay.
drive-by inspection of every house. and
Correct.
Full inspections, interior inspections of 20% every year. I think it used to be 25%.
Yeah, it used to be 25 in 4 years, and they
Right.
increased it to 20 over 5.
That's why I was
In
confused when I.
Somerset County,
Perfect.
Almost every town
Yeah.
has annual
Correct.
reassessment, because Rob Vance, the old tax.
So here's a question. Can a resident request that they be part of the inside inspection?
I'm sorry.
Can a resident request, if they missed the inside inspection, say last year, can they request an inside inspection next year?
Yes, and
Yeah.
you can do it any year. Before you file an appeal, as Randy said, you should call the assessor, and he may ask to come out and inspect your house.
Okay, thank you.
The assessor
And the
still
other thing-
plays a very key part in the whole
Yes, he oversees
assessment
it.
process. He oversees it. He's the person that signs off on the assessment. So if anybody has any specific questions and so forth, they should contact the tax assessor. Now, our assessor's part-time. He's only here in Wednesday evenings, but he does answer emails throughout the week.
So I want
So
to make
you-
a very subtle point. It's off of what Mayor Pacercia said, and I think what you said as well. If you don't allow them inside of the house, they will assess you at the worst case.
That's right.
And therefore, if you think you're at the worst case, you can always invite the assessor to come look inside.
Yeah, one resident told me that when she called, she was told that she had an updated bathroom and a finished basement. And she said, and I don't. And I had them come back out, and I proved that I didn't. But to your point, the assessor did their job.
Yep. But one final point, and somebody, I think it was the mayor or Randy, said, it was Randy, you don't appeal the taxes, but also if you do appeal it, the evidence is comparable sales, not assessments. So the fact that your neighbors may have lower assessments than you is not evidentiary. They may be underassessed. You've actually got to
Yeah.
come in and show comparable sales to your home.
And one of the things I would encourage the residents, if you're concerned about your assessment, because they do assessments and they take similar neighborhoods. Now, a neighborhood isn't your surrounding properties. It's neighborhoods are divided into the town by similar types of houses. They have that map on the appraisal system link. So you can take a look at it, and they have it color-coded. You'd have to probably enlarge it a little bit to get certain sections, but you would be able to see what the neighborhoods are that they compare each neighborhood to.
So first off, Randy, thank you. That was an unbelievable job. I'm getting some dirty looks from people.
We just want to move on to the cap bank description from you.
No, no. I'm
No
gonna
cap
hold-
bank description tonight.
No, the public doesn't get everything tonight. I'm gonna hold off on cap bank till the next
Thank you,
meeting.
thank you. I was only kidding.
So, at that point, Randy, I know you have an administrative report. I don't know if you have more items for us.
I do.
But there's
I have December 2025 police report. So they had a busy month in December. They had 2,474 calls for duty for from calls, for a yearly total of 32,009 responses for calls. During the month of December, and I'm not sure if it's maybe some weather related, but they responded to 21 motor vehicle accidents, which 4 of those ended up in summonses written for driving under the influence.
Okay, has to do with the weather.
That's nothing to do with the weather.
Well, they were
So-
depressed.
The police also participated in the Meyerville's tree lighting on December 7th, December 7th, which I'm sad that I wasn't able to be there, but I was away on vacation, so. On December 10th, as many people do know, we had a promotion of 2 lieutenants and 4 sergeants. They are now getting all kinds of training done and doing training. The lieutenants obviously have to train sergeants, and current lieutenant and chief have to train the lieutenants, and we're sending them to various classes and courses to get all the training in that needs, and obviously that will be ongoing throughout 2026. So I just want to say to Director Gallo, you guys did a great job with the recent snowstorms. Even last weekend, it was rather unexpected that it was supposed to turn to rain, that never did. But you guys went out Saturday, came back out Sunday, and even came out Monday to do some touch-up. So, Monday was a federal holiday, and the guys were off. So kudos. They've worked straight through last week, straight through the weekend, and straight through this week. And unfortunately, might be the weekend also as the weather's looking. So, couple of reminders. Please, please, please keep your cars off the street. We have an ordinance that no cars are allowed to park in the street when snow covered. This impedes the snow operations, and quite honestly, if they have to plow around cars and there's another back-to-back storm, it creates quite a mess in those areas where they can't get curb to curb. We have a lot of narrow streets in town, and please, the police go out there and try to notify the property owners. They knock on doors and everything else to try and get people to move the cars. Please, I don't want to see anybody's car towed or anything so that we could do our operation. So a lot of cooperation would be very helpful, not only to yourself, but your neighbors and everything else. Do not, I guess this is for certain contractors or homeowners with snow blowers, do not blow the snow into the street. Do not plow the snow into the street. There's a lot of vacant property around. You could blow the snow into the lawn and everything else. So cooperation from all the residents helps the public works guys get home to their families a little earlier and make sure the streets are plowed curb to curb so that everybody can drive safely. I think congratulations on the recycling. Fabulous job. Just a side note, the styrofoam, yes, we have other towns dropping styrofoam off here. We do charge them a fee. I believe we have 5 towns right now, Al. So that's some income to the town that goes into our recycling program. Al Gallo just recently got a recycling grant from the county, and they actually gave out numbers for the county-wide recycling, and they are very impressed with our operations of how much recycling we do and the various types of recycling that we do. So kudos to Al, kudos to the deputy mayor for keeping Al thinking of all these new ideas of recycling. So great job. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. All right, so we're going to go on to item number 9. There's a number of discussion items. We're not going to reach conclusion on any of these, so I think we're going to give a brief description or discussion. Vic, I know you have a couple, maybe most of them. How does the committee, what's your pleasure? How would you like to proceed here? Jack, were you involved in the tree ordinance?
Yeah, I submitted the tree ordinance. The tree
Perfect.
ordinance is an ordinance submitted to the Township Committee by the Shade Tree Commission or Committee, I'm not sure what it was at the time, in 2010, 16 years ago. So some things have changed. And just briefly, if you go to the general provisions, 23.5, tree removal restricted, the first sentence says that no person shall remove a tree without getting a permit. And then the second paragraph says, no person shall destroy or remove any historic tree. I think that, if you do go ahead, I think that should be removed. It's redundant, it's inconsistent, I think it causes confusion. It says you have to get a permit for a historic tree. Well, if we're requiring it for all trees, so I would take that out. Then it has exemptions. Every single-family house can remove 3 trees. This is actually based on the Burnersville ordinance, I think, that they
This is page
adapted.
4 now for those following.
That's correct. So single-family houses can remove 3 trees a year with permission. Dead or diseased trees can be removed, but only if the tree officer has determined that they are actually diseased or dead, that they should be removed. I don't want to take a whole lot of time. Going through
Now, are
the
we going to
page.
let the Shade Tree Commission take a peek at this again?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, I have a quick question, though. I thought we updated it like a couple years ago.
But it was so watered down that it really means nothing.
And that's why we're relooking at it.
That's right.
That's
All the
exactly why
substantive-
we're relooking at
All
it.
the substantive provisions were taken out, so
Wonderful.
what was left really doesn't
Too
say
much.
much.
Wonderful,
In fact, it didn't even require a permit, it just required you to report
right.
that
And
you
now
were.
we're looking to change it
Well,
and give it a little teeth.
That's not up to me, but yeah, that's the intent
Right.
of this ordinance.
And I think ultimately our goal is to really stop the clear cutting.
That's
That's
correct.
ultimately our goal.
Yeah.
And that continues to happen.
Yep, I agree. If you go to paragraph 8, which is page 6, it has, these are regulations applicable to development applications. So for site plans or subdivisions, they have to go get approval from the Shade Tree Commission. Then there are separate provisions if you go later on. The next section is actually site protections. Just if you do take trees down, you've got to put up, soil conservation measures, which you probably have to do anyway. Then there's a separate section for those tree removal permits that don't involve planning board or board of adjustment applications. They're very similar rules, but just a different process for doing it. Then there's, now this is probably obsolete, that the person designated to enforce it is the tree conservation officer, and it makes the TCO the chairman or chair of the Shade Tree Commission. And I think that was done at the time because I think David Welsh was the chair.
Right.
And he wanted to do it. But
And he did a heck of a job,
He did.
a heck of a job.
And obviously David Welsh knew trees inside out. So that's probably not a realistic thing to have the chair do it. But as I say, this is from 2010. Then it goes on to an appeal procedure, which would be to the Township Committee. It has tree replacement requirements, and it's very specific as to size and species of trees. And it also provides that you can request the Shade Tree Commission that in lieu of planting trees on your own property, you make contributions to the Tree Conservation Fund, which can only be used for trees elsewhere in town.
Where in here does it specify the invasive species trees that are exempt?
I think it was by an appendix originally, but that is something that should be
So
specified
the
in
Shade
there.
Tree Commission should take a look
When-
at this.
when
and
we
put that
refer
in
to
as
them-
an attachment, because they have some specific trees that we have problems with in town.
Exactly.
Bamboo
And I
counts
don't,
that or not?
I don't have
We
that
have that in the
expertise.
bamboo ordinance
Oh.
specifically
There is a
by
ban- yeah.
species.
Yeah, and I can give them the Burnsville one, which as they say,
Yeah,
this is
it's like
obviously
this.
modeled on, they have a list of trees. And then there are other things, like, you know, you don't need a permit, or you need a permit, but you don't, nothing else applies, for the footprint of a dwelling and 20 feet around it. Also like driveways and things like that, you know, that you can take trees down, within 15 feet of wells, or a driveway or garage, or access required by the fire official or fire department, things like that.
So you can take those down without a permit.
Right. You know, you still have to report to the tree conservation officer, but you don't have to get a permit, and you
Now,
don't have to, you don't have to replace the trees.
That's interesting. Does that include any sewer lines or anything like that?
Yes, it would,
Okay,
it would.
because obviously that causes roots cause a lot of problems with sewer pipes.
Yeah, and there are a lot more examples in here, but I didn't want to get into every
Okay.
one of them. I just wanted to, you know,
Right.
give an overview. Then it talks about the tree conservation fund, how those monies can be used. And as I said, it's for tree purposes, planting on public property primarily. Enforcement provisions, again, as I say, tree conservation officer, but to ask the chair of the Shade Tree Commission would probably be pretty onerous request. And then it has penalties, which are the standard penalties for violating an ordinance. And that's pretty much it. So-
Thank you, Jack. So how should we proceed? Will Randy or Megan send this to the Shade Tree Commission at the direction of the Township Committee?
Yeah,
Please look within a reasonable amount of time,
yeah.
send it back.
And I would just note that it's my recommendation to remove that one paragraph about historic trees. They may want a provision in there about historic trees, but I think it is confusing to say you have to have it all for all trees, and then the next paragraph says you have to have one for historic trees. It's already covered.
I think they have a list of historic trees.
I think they do, though, they definitely do it. It mentions that in here.
Might even be on the township website.
It is on the township
Yeah.
website.
But the Shade Tree Commission probably has come before the Township Committee 10 times, you know, in my
But
time
not
here.
recently.
No,
That was-
no, I
We're-
agree.
we're ready to
They-
go.
They got turned down.
It's
every
about time. We're ready to go.
Yep.
We're ready to have a real ordinance that has some real teeth in it, that really has to be followed. And I think a real key component of this one also is, when there's an application, there's a certain amount of time for the Shade Tree Commission, or I believe our tree expert, Chief Gallo, to take a look at the application and the site and either approve it or deny it. And I think that's a great provision, and we need to make sure that, you know, that part is followed also.
And we're not a leader on
In
this.
other words, when someone applies, that we actually, the Shade Tree Commission or Chief Gallo, actually take a look at it within the 45 days, because if not, they get a blanket approval.
Yeah, and what I was saying was.
Right? I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say that we're not doing it, I'm just saying that I think it's great that we're gonna take a look at it.
And the intent is not to be onerous on property
No.
owners. The fact is, we did this once before, because I was on the Shade Tree Commission for many years. Every town in this area, every one.
Every single one.
Has an ordinance at least as strict as what is being discussed here.
Again,
Chatham.
I always say, if you really want a good example, come and take a drive through my neighborhood and take a look at where the neighborhood was developed, when there was a shade tree ordinance, where that was followed, and David Welsh came in and made sure that certain trees were preserved, versus when we no longer had it, and my neighborhood was extended by 4 houses, and they were allowed to clear cut those lots.
Didn't know that.
We
Take-
never had an ordinance, actually.
But at one time,
People thought we did.
Yeah,
at one
that could
time,
be-
there was something was followed, though, because the builder actually.
It was David's dictates.
Yes, he actually, but take a look at the different personality, how it looks with the
Stephanie
mature
Drive, we're
trees
talking Stephanie.
versus how
No,
it looks with,
I
where they
understand.
clear cut them. It's significant.
All
I'm
right.
not saying that part of the neighborhood isn't also beautiful, but the lacking of those mature trees doesn't go unnoticed.
Jack, thank you. Vic, thank you. And I'm not even gonna look over at Megan, because I know she's giving me the eye.
No, so if I could just jump in, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
The Shade Tree Commission meets next Monday, the 26th. I don't know if I can ask them to review this in that amount of time and then give us some sort of response by the 11th.
Give it a shot.
Okay, and then do you want it on for a discussion item again, or do you want it on for
If we've heard
introduction?
back.
Not until, yeah, exactly, not until they've had time to review, properly review it and send it back. In fairness, many members on that Shade Tree Commission are the same, and they've been here for
Correct.
quite some time. They are going to perk up when they see this committee is taking it
Well,
seriously.
they're going to.
Correct, and then you want it on for a discussion item, not an introduction. So you guys can give your final blessing on the
I
proposed?
think what we can agree is we want the Shade Tree Commission to have the proper amount of time. If they come
Yep.
back and say, we're not meeting that night, or whatever it is, I would guess it might be the second meeting in February. to
That's,
give-
that's fine, but you want to come back, review it, and then Jack draft it into an
Yeah.
ordinance for the
Yeah,
first.
because I have a clean
at the-
version of this as well. This one was kind of broken up to break out the substantive sections, so.
Well, first, second reading, I think we can discuss it at first reading. If we don't feel we made it through, we can
I think we're. I think-
table it, right? Oh,
I-
not carry it, I think.
I think we're better off discussing it again since.
Okay.
Okay.
We're starting from scratch here.
Okay,
All right, fair enough.
I'll send it to the Shade Tree Commission to ask them to review it either the 26th or their next meeting would be, what is this? February 23rd. And then we're into March. So I'll see what I can do and let you guys know.
Well, it's 16 years in coming. I think an extra meeting or two won't.
Okay.
And I think this is just the latest one they sent to us.
Fair enough. So Megan, this thing that you just passed along,
This is me too.
right, is it here?
Yeah,
Is one of
the
the
second
items?
one.
Second, all right, perfect. Fire away, Jack.
Yeah, I've taken up a lot more time than I usually do. This ordinance establishes procedures for our meetings, in part because the state hasn't done anything with respect to remote meetings and hybrid meetings. So I thought it was appropriate that we codify the procedures we follow. And I'll be brief again. In 2-2.3, it says that all meetings will be held here, and that they will be broadcast on Zoom and YouTube when possible. It goes on to say that the mayor or can, in his sole discretion, can hold a totally remote meeting for several reasons. One, if for weather, if there's a snowstorm. Two, if we can't get a live quorum. Or three, for any other reasonable reason that the mayor determines. It goes on to say that everyone will be given the opportunity to be heard. There'll be 3 minutes. People, both remote and in person, should identify themselves and give their address. And people on Zoom should also have their camera on so the township committee and the audience can see them. And I think this is an important provision. Paragraph 7 is that failure of the township committee to broadcast it on YouTube or on Zoom does not invalidate any action taken. Now, that would
If
obviously.
there's a technical
If there's a
issue.
technical issue. Now, that obviously would not apply to a 100% remote hearing. In that case,
Right.
technological problems, we'd have to cancel the meeting. But in any other case, the actions taken would still be valid. And that's basically
And a
it.
big part of the reason we wanted to move forward with this, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, is it's not common. And in fairness to the state, why address something that isn't, I don't know how many towns do allow remote participation. I probably think we can count it on one hand.
Well, but other towns do entirely remote
Okay.
Zoom meetings, so it really should be addressed by the state, but they haven't done it, so I think we need to.
But in our case, we do both, and, Mary Ann kindly spoke earlier today. I'm sure there are another town or towns that do it. I'm just not aware of them.
Burnersville.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I know of one.
There's quite a few towns that do it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
More over time.
After COVID,
Yeah.
they stayed with it?
The Morris County just did a survey. There's probably about 7 to 9 towns in Morris
Out of
County.
39. All right, that's more than I would have
Now, I
thought.
think Warren used to do it and they stopped.
Right.
Yes.
All right, I have just one comment on this, and that's it.
Sure.
Number 6, second sentence, speakers on Zoom shall activate their cameras so they can be seen, et cetera. Not everybody has a camera.
The mayor can waive requirements.
Okay, if we just clarify that, that's all.
All right, Scott, I want to be clear, that does not count as one of your over-delivering. That, Right, that's not one of your 3 items when you
I'm
promised
just
one.
making one comment, because we have a lot to get through here,
All right,
and I'm counting on you to move us through.
Yeah.
all right.
Jack, what do they do in other towns where there's some kind of technical issue with Zoom? Do we have to wait 20 minutes to let somebody connect and make all these jump through hoops?
Well, I think we handled it properly the other night when Marion Noonan's mic wasn't working. You know, they've given the opportunity, and I think that's covered by the technological problem
All right.
paragraph. You know, that it doesn't invalidate, you know, they have the right to come in person. So it's really a courtesy to the residents that we're providing remote, you know, participation.
You go with that?
Yeah,
Scott?
thank you for the answer.
And Matt? All right, so let's move on. The
So,
next item is
just-
commercial vehicles.
Mayor, if I could just jump in, so what is the conclusion for that ordinance update?
We're not, it's a rough draft, we can't vote on that, so we just,
I understand, so do you,
Want to introduce it at the next meeting? is that-
that's the, yeah.
I have no problem, Jack, do you have a problem introducing
No,
it
you can
tonight?
introduce it tonight. You know, obviously the draft
well,
markings will come off it.
Jack's saying yes, Megan's saying no, I'm gonna go with Megan,
I would too.
because she can make my life miserable. I say that in the sweetest of ways.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So we'll introduce it next
So
meeting.
no,
Yeah,
we'll introduce
I
it
agree
at the
with
next
Megan.
meeting.
February
Megan.
11th, so it's nice, clean, and.
yeah, that's
Fair
fine.
enough, okay. You're right, as always.
Wait, say it again?
You're right, as always.
And I'm done.
All right, so now we're moving on to commercial vehicles. Jack, is this gonna be a Jack night? Are we gonna,
No, I'm not discussing commercial vehicles unless asked.
Wait, what you handed us, is this the current ordinance or proposed ordinance?
This
That's
is,
the current
this
ordinance.
is the current one.
Got it, thank you.
And what we're looking to do, we had the large town hall meeting where, I feel strongly you can't have ordinances and just selectively decide which ones you're going to enforce. If you have ordinances in your town, you have to enforce them. So right now, we have a commercial vehicle ordinance that allows for no commercial vehicles whatsoever. You can't have them nowhere on your property. You can't park them at all. You just can't have them. So we're looking to have a compromise. But since there's been no reinforcement of the commercial vehicle ordinance, some people are parking 3 commercial vehicles on their property, visible from the street, on their lawns. They're making no attempt to shield these vehicles. They're parking multiple vehicles. So when we came together as a community, and we had the extensive meeting, I thought there was a good feeling that there was one commercial vehicle. If you have a garage, you garage it. If you don't have a garage, you try to attempt to shield it. But if you have neither, you're still allowed your one commercial vehicle of a certain size. It can't be a big monster jump. There's a certain weight limit to these vehicles. And you can't have an overnight, this is for residential zones, by the way. This is not for commercial zones. If you're in a commercial zone, you can park, you have them, you can park. But there's also no overnight parking of commercial vehicles in front of your house,
So,
in front of a residential house.
So
You
just
have to have a driveway.
So just to
Lisa
kind of build on your thought, you recall when we had that meeting last year, we kind of went through discussions on this. And I think, Jack, we talked about Bridgewater has an ordinance.
That's right.
That captures the spirit of what you're talking about with the details of what can happen and gets into this specific specifications on gross vehicle weight as well. So we don't have people parking tractor trailers.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Right. And yet not penalizing, you know, historically what we've had is, you know, sections of town that are inhabited by workmen.
Right.
Right? So my recommendation would be maybe Jack takes that Bridgewater ordinance and presents for discussion the next time we meet.
Yep.
A copy of that.
Perfect.
With some edits that kind of capture the sense of what you're
Yes.
talking about, and then we kind of take it from there.
Yeah, because this was not only discussed with the members of the community, it was also discussed with the planning board also, to make
Yeah,
sure.
there's too much ambiguity in what we have.
Yep,
It's
perfect.
like when
I
things are
think
ambiguous, people don't
everybody's
know
in
what they want.
agreement.
And it's not realistic.
Yeah,
that
Perfect.
includes the zoning enforcement officer. How do you enforce something that's unclear?
that's right, that's
Yep.
right. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, that was.
Vic, thank you for bringing it to our attention. We can move on to the next one. Overnight parking. Is that you again, Vic?
That's me again.
Fire
Yes,
away.
So I've been living here all these years, 24 years, thinking that like every other town that I lived in, that there was an overnight parking ordinance that you had to park your car in your driveway if you had one. And if you weren't gonna park your car in your driveway, if you were gonna park your car on the street, you had to notify the police department. And if you had a guest that was parking out in the street that evening, you were gonna notify the police department and let them know that there was a guest that was gonna be parking on the street. However, we don't have an overnight parking ordinance here in Long Hill Township. And I believe that there's a few reasons why most towns, if not all our surrounding towns, have an overnight parking ordinance. It's not only for aesthetic reasons, that it looks better at night when the streets are clear and there's not a bunch of cars parked out on the streets, but it's also, there's a safety reason that the police department and our law enforcement agencies know, which cars are here overnight by people who don't live in our town. So I think it's about time that we got up to speed with it. If you don't have a driveway, and you cannot park your car in a driveway, you are welcome, you get a free, permit sticker that you're a resident and you have a car parked out on the street because you don't have a driveway. We're not looking to, be unfair to people, but if we take a peek, I guarantee you that the vast majority of the towns that surround us have an overnight parking ordinance. And
So let me ask you, have we discussed this with Chief Chimbriello and
I have this-
Lieutenant Sutton, the traffic officer?
No, not, that, I can answer that.
Okay.
No, because I believe that the first discussion should be at this
Okay.
board. If if 3 out of 4 of you say no, there's no reason to involve and get the police involved and spend their time if you guys aren't even gonna consider.
And I know that
So-
our chief is out in the audience, and I don't want to put her on the spot. How does it work in another town? Are we inundating our police with,
Or is it something that they think is a good thing? Listen,
not.
to me,
Yeah,
listen, it's just something for us that I think that we should discuss. Obviously, it's not my call. If everybody here and the chief thinks it doesn't make any sense, heck, let people park overnight, but let them park overnight. But I do believe that there are reasons why the vast majority of towns have, again, every town I ever lived in, you couldn't park overnight, except for Long Hill. You couldn't park your car in the street.
Are there certain areas where this is a problem?
No, I'm not saying, I think there are a few spots where there's a lot of cars parked out on the street. However, as far as policing is concerned, I think there's an advantage, but again, that would be something that the police department and Chief Chamarillo would be able to answer far better than me, but I believe that there's some type of advantage to the police department knowing which cars are from town and which are not. I could be wrong.
It's always been ambiguous to me. I'll give you an example.
As to what exactly the reasons are.
Well, I'll give you an example, right? Northfield Road. When you cross the train tracks past the school going up towards Long Hill Road, the conventional wisdom in the neighborhood is you can only park on the right-hand side of the street, not on the left side. That's what people say. And if you park on the wrong side, and I don't know if you give tickets or whatever, but that's just what and I don't live there, but that's what I understand from the neighborhood, right? And it's always been that way.
It's like self-policed?
I suppose. But I don't know where that comes from, right? And I don't know if that same custom occurs in other neighborhoods
And I
as
hear
well.
what Matt was, I don't want to put words in your mouth. We don't want to fix a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah, like in Lower Sterling, there's small driveways, and some of these driveways only fit one car, maybe two, and a lot of them are single. So, say for example, if Scott lived on Essex Street, he'd be in trouble because he has 5 people in his house that have a car. And if his kids were over for the holidays, he'd have 6 cars
But I
on the
guess
police
what Vic's
department.
saying is that could be addressed by having little stickers or something.
Correct. A resident sticker.
But it's not onerous, but it's really not the police's department, the business,
Right,
or
that's
mine,
why,
who lives in town, who doesn't live in town. It's just an Alpine, and it's not a restrictive community.
That's why, what I said, and I hear what Randy's
That's right, so
saying.
that we wanted
I
to
would
discuss it in an open forum.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
recommend sitting down with the chief and the traffic officer, just to get an idea.
I don't
Maybe
think
maybe
parking-
what we're discussing makes no sense at all.
No, I mean, I don't think, Chief, I don't think they're issuing 1,000 parking summonses a year here because there's really not a parking problem. I mean, sometimes when the hotel has an issue, there's an issue with parking, or if there's snowstorm like we said the other day, but again, I think it's a solution without a problem.
Yeah, I can certainly get together with the chief and who she deems necessary to have a discussion about it and bring the
Perfect.
comments back to the
Listen,
committee.
if it's
Yeah.
not like, hey, leave it alone, it's not an issue.
Yeah, I think what,
Then leave it
in
alone.
fairness to Vic, Vic's just saying, I want to discuss it.
Oh, that's
Maybe it-
fine.
Maybe it's,
Thank
maybe
you.
it's exactly as Matt said, it's a solution in search of a
Listen,
problem.
Maybe,
Or problem in search of a
maybe
solution.
many surrounding towns, the majority of the surrounding towns have this ordinance. There's really no good reason. You know what I mean?
Well, but
Who
they
knows?
also.
Thank you.
Vic, one of the reasons they do have this too is they have street sweepers and stuff.
That's true, yes.
Yeah,
And that's another thing, like, I know, I don't know, what's the deal with the street sweeper? How many times does it come around?
What are you, Seinfeld? What's the deal with?
Yeah,
there's actually DEP regulations under the stormwater management program of how many times you have to clean the streets. I believe it's twice a year for those streets that qualify to be cleaned.
okay.
Yeah,
Every other month,
we
okay.
do it more often.
All right. And the
So,
other thing with parking too is anytime we have an event, it seems like people are pretty good at getting off the street when they see the little sign, don't park.
yeah, yeah. But, you know, in my experience, I've seen it in really more smaller, condensed towns where, you know, there's a lot of houses on streets and so forth, population much greater than here, and smaller areas.
Like a Bamboo, where you came from.
Boundbrook, South
Bamboo.
Boundbrook. Boundbrook, South
That's
Boundbrook.
a great point, because that's probably how the Northfield Road custom came up, because if they did park on both sides, it'd be very, you wouldn't get two lanes of traffic.
I have that problem on my street too.
Right.
You can only, you can't park on both sides, you can't get, very difficult, you couldn't get an
It's
emergency.
usually
vehicle
because,
through.
it's usually because of that person that has all those parties.
It's a problem, that person.
But, yeah, we'll discuss it and I'll come back with
Perfect.
comments.
All right, so let's carry on. Driveways, who is?
Vic?
Vic.
Parking lots
Well,
and parking areas.
By the way, seriously.
These are
Vic,
things that
Thank you
we've
for bringing this. You want to know what? I know we're teasing a little bit. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. These are things
So I-
that
They all
you
have to be
hear out
settled.
in the.
They have to be settled.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
I'm like, kind of like, you know, the beautification, open space kind of guy, and I
You're a
think these,
beautiful kinda guy.
these things, I try to be reasonable and fair. None of this is designed to try to pick on anyone, but, you know, maybe in certain cases to stop a neighborhood dispute or a neighborly dispute before it happens. And so we have a situation in town where some people just arbitrarily pave the entire front of their house by the street, creating therefore a private parking, off-street parking in front of their house. And, I mean, personally, I just don't think that's fair. I don't think
Jeff,
it's,
They would need a permit.
I don't think
to
it's
pave
right.
Anything, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and it'd be subject to the,
Coverage.
But
Yeah.
in the past, people just do it. Now, what I think would be fair is if you have a situation where you made your own homemade parking pad in front of your house, if you went about it properly, it's not an impervious coverage issue, you got the proper permitting, whatever that was, whatever was required to do so, you got it. It's perfect. If you just arbitrarily pave the entire front of your, therefore creating your own personal parking, off-the-street parking that no one else can use, well, I think that we should address that. I don't think it's a good look for the town. I don't think it's good for the neighborhood. I don't think it's fair to your
Well, it's
certain neighbors.
also in violation of the ordinance, so.
But it does happen. We also have situations where people just put, rocks on their front lawn and decide to park a car there. Or without rocks, they just park cars on their front lawns. Again, maybe I'm wrong, and if people want to discuss it, I don't think that that's a great look. I don't think that's good for real estate values and integrity of a neighborhood, to be just arbitrarily stoning a portion of the front of your house to park your car there.
Does this dovetail into the carport? Is it the same conversation or no?
And that would be probably the final.
Yeah, let's stay on the car pad thing.
Yes.
Because I've been thinking about this one, because I understand what you're saying. And it's the kind of thing that's inappropriate in some neighborhoods and in other neighborhoods, and I'll say specifically, going down Long Hill Road.
Yep.
Right, you have this big long
Yep.
hill, and then you have another hill, and you have people that have those pads there, and I understand why.
Yep.
Because you can't get down that
I
driveway.
completely agree.
Backing in and out.
And you can't get up, and I've seen that on St. Joseph's as well. You have these really high driveways and stuff, and so in those cases, it's like, as long as they did it with regard to impervious coverage, and in an attractive way that met.
Right, and they have a
as long as
hardship,
they
that's a
did-
hardship, I believe, which would warrant it.
Right, to put a justification in for why they're doing it with the permit
Yes.
process, et cetera. I don't think anybody has any problem with that.
Agreed.
But when people go rogue.
And
it's like-
and that's,
That's what you're trying to do. So
Correct.
You're trying to narrow this down to the insult that you're trying to cure,
correct.
right? Is people going rogue.
All right, so how do we proceed?
That would be,
I don't know where these lots are. It's like, again, I need examples of where this exists, where the problem is.
I could take you for a ride tonight and show you a bunch of examples.
going
I don't wanna
anywhere
call
tonight.
anybody, I don't wanna call anybody.
Not
I don't wanna-
happening.
But I could show you a bunch of examples around
During
town.
the daylight, so
I'm going
you
during
two
the
have a
day
date.
either.
Whenever you're ready, I'll take you for a cruise.
Well,
The
like,
can do.
like I said, if you give us addresses, we can check to make sure that they followed the ordinances. We have gotten no addresses.
Look,
or anything for us to take a
I'm
look
not
at.
looking to personally single anybody out.
But I understand, but you said, if they
But
did
there
not,
are-
if they didn't do it correctly, we should get on top of them. Okay, without addresses, we don't know if they did it properly or not.
Yeah, and
And I think maybe our zoning officer would be
Yeah.
a key in that.
You need to tell him which ones there are. where you
No.
think
So
the
do you want
violations
our code enforcement officer to drive
Oh, it's not
around
marked?
town and find those?
No.
I don't, he and I have had some conversations. He sees them, he's aware of them. And he also, based on his experience, doesn't happen anywhere else but Longville.
Where
Now,
you
I
need-
wanted to also build on something that I think we're a little bit alarmed by, is people renting out their property as parking
Bingo.
lots.
Bingo.
And that one,
Yep,
that
yep.
that fits in
That's
with the
clearly a
conversation we've been
violence.
having about Airbnbs and some of the
Yes.
stuff that's being taken
Right.
advantage of.
And this being a World Cup year, that's probably gonna,
That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. We're at risk of even more of that stuff this year. Park your car, get on the train. Well, we got 3 train stations. Thank you, Mayor Pacercia, for getting that pressed.
And that's another,
Right,
that's a good one to bring up, Committeeman Lavender. Because I have heard some whispers of that kind of thing possibly going on some properties in
well,
town.
we're pretty sure on one in particular, it is going on.
We see them being advertised right now in town.
And that
That's how
really,
Bugs you.
that's
Remember when
unfair,
Paul
that's
won?
unfair to those other people who
You
live in
came
that
about the
neighborhood, I
Airbnb,
think.
and we thought-
I
we
wouldn't
thought
want that.
No, and then you
And
looked
he
it
was
up.
right, he was right.
He was 100% right.
Yeah.
All right, and then I think and then the last thing to discuss is carports.
Wait, so
No,
I'm sorry.
is there a conclusion for the driveway parking
I
ordinance?
think Jack was going to do his research and make some proposals.
I can do that.
At the next.
I think you know the spirit of what we're looking
Township
to accomplish,
I do.
okay?
Yep, I will bring something to the next meeting for discussion.
look how much time we're giving
and
you,
of
Jack.
course,
It's 3
it-
weeks to the next meeting. Usually we tell you about 20 minutes before the meeting begins.
I
And
appreciate it.
again, it's
That was
something
Mayor
that,
Dorsey, that's his style. My
these are
style
things
is
that,
to
that,
give-
that, if people feel differently or the same, we'd like to hear from you.
Yep, no, I will find some ordinance.
All right, awnings is the awnings.
that
Who's
under
who's awning?
Carports.
Is that,
Carports
Well,
first.
I think, awnings is also on it, that's a commercial thing, that's for commercial, that's not, awnings is a residential thing, it's a commercial, it's part of the commercial. If we're gonna bat out of order, let's discuss awnings. So if you drive through, I'll use it as an example, take a ride through Madison, the center of town, it's beautiful. You can see that they have a uniform ordinance for awnings. You just can't put up green, yellow, blue, or purple. You can't just put up particular, whatever signs you want. Businesses need to comply with the sign ordinance, and it creates a much more upscale look.
Jack, I thought we had a pretty strict sign ordinance. Or no, we
I
don't.
don't believe we do. We've discussed it before.
Like,
In other words, all right, so there's a particular mall in town
There's only one wall in town.
And the awnings aren't looking all that great. The signage, the awnings, and it might be nice, it might be a real step in the right direction if there was one agreed upon or two agreed upon styles and colors. And that they had to be maintained and not tattered. And based on the conversations I've had with our zoning officer, that type of thing really does not exist. And I have, and I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but I do on a regular basis, even on Facebook and social media, see complaints about just how wonderful the Valley Mall looks. And this is a step in the right direction. If we want to have a mall that looks better, then we have to have ordinances that our zoning officer can enforce to make that happen. And as of right now, I'm under the impression that's not the case. So
Well,
what-
there is an ordinance, this isn't the ordinance, but there is an ordinance for commercial appearance that our code enforcement officer uses for commercial properties.
But it doesn't really give, again, based on my conversation with him, it doesn't really give him what he needs.
Well, it doesn't give them, to tear down the building, but.
No,
it gives
and
them-
again-
It gives them some material to go to the property owner and say, you need to do these repairs, you need to fix this up.
As part of the property maintenance code.
Correct.
So the last time we discussed awnings, a year or two, whatever it was, 3 years ago, I don't recall, I thought we left it an open-ended sentence, and I don't think we moved forward on it. And what we're really trying to accomplish is close these open-ended sentences. We've discussed it, we agree, well, let's make the ordinance and give it some bite so that the zoning officer can get out there and do their job.
Well, the ordinance does discuss awnings as signs, and I think Randy's right, under the property maintenance code, properties have to be maintained, and that would include the awnings, I think.
But does it mention a particular style,
No.
particular color, particular, you can't have one that
Well, you're
goes
talking about-
6 feet away from your, from your building,
Well,
it
that
has to
would
be limited.
covered.
That's covered right here.
That's covered. But I
Isn't
think,
that the purview of the planning board, though?
yeah, I was gonna say, this should be
To approve
forwarded
site
to the
plans
planning
based on
board.
that?
Yeah, they have to provide the signs and everything,
Yeah.
with
Yes.
site approval.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this should be referred to the planning board. as
All
well.
right, so Megan was about to ask, so why don't we kick it to the planning board?
Solved.
Okay?
I can't tell from Megan's face whether that's a yay or a nay.
It's not up to Megan. It's not up to Megan.
I don't make the
Look, I think the
decisions
planning
around-
board would be
I'm
awesome
proposing,
to
okay, Matt,
consult
I'm
with on this
proposing we
one.
kick
And
this
have
to
the
the
planner
planning
there.
board.
Kicking it
Yes.
to the planning board
With
Because
that,
ultimately,
kick it to the
we have
planning
the
board
same goal. We're looking for a
to
nice,
opine.
uniform look
To
throughout
opine.
town,
To
as far as
opine.
awnings are concerned.
Agreed.
And again, I know I like to,
Vic, you won. You know what, it's,
But I don't wanna be-
never argue a call
I
in your
know.
favor. That's what I was taught when I
Thank you.
played sports. Don't argue a call in your favor.
Wait,
We're kicking it to the planning board for them to opine.
Got it.
to opine
But-
on the property maintenance
No,
code,
awning.
Vic is talking about
Vis-a-vis awnings.
aesthetic
just the
standards.
awnings.
He's talking about aesthetic
Right.
standards.
Aesthetic,
Standards.
Aesthetic
awnings and
standards.
signage.
Right.
Awnings
Just
and
like we do for
signage.
Signage.
So
Just
that's
like
what
we
we
do for
discussed ad
signs.
nauseam. You guys have done that
Yeah.
for a long time.
That's
Awnings
right.
and signage.
They're different.
Yes.
Right.
I know we have a
But we
strict
do it for
sign.
signs now.
Awnings
Vic's
and
talking about
signage,
doing it for
yes.
signs.
All right.
Detail.
So are we gonna
And
carry
then the
on now?
last thing,
And by the way, in the spirit of putting periods at the end of sentences, when's the follow-up? When are we looking to have their opinion come back to us?
It's a lot of work.
What's a reasonable amount of time?
60 days.
That's up to
So
the,
hopefully-
that's up to the chairman. Usually they'll get
Perfect.
to it really quick.
And
I
again,
think
I'm not
Jack-
trying
I
to
think
say
Jack
that
said 60 days.
the planning board does an amazing job. I'm not trying to
We
say
have
they
to
don't.
back, we can
but-
put it off.
Okay, so then we would diary it for 60 days and
I would say early March, I'll put it on as a reminder and check in with the, planning board,
Perfect.
coordinator, Deb, and see what the status is, and then I can give you an update
And
or
again,
what they're,
I know it must be
Yes.
annoying to some people that I use my real-life experiences, when giving examples, but I don't have an office in any town where I could just put up any sign I want.
Well, you can't hear either.
But it's usually a little more restrictive than it is here. I'm
pretty
limited to a specific color, I'm limited to a specific style, a specific size.
We do that. We did that for signs, but not for awnings.
Not for awnings. Yes,
Right.
So you get what I'm saying.
I do.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
I
we'll
understand.
get clarity back from the
Yep.
planning board.
Perfect.
If Megan, you
And-
get that
and
over to
sincerely, Vic,
Deb.
thank
She
you for bringing
may
this.
have it on the next meeting agenda, so
You put a lot of thought into this, and I do appreciate it.
this one's easy.
So,
Perfect.
all right, moving on, item number 10, old new business, seeing none. Announcements. I don't want to read the whole thing, Megan, and I think we're going to put this on the website, right? For Lewis Bay? All right, so Highview, the Lewis Bay Second Future Municipal Leader Scholarship Competition, mayor's involvement. Let's see, it's sponsored by the New Jersey League. When is we announced by January 30th. Megan, why don't you, because I didn't really get a chance to read it. When's the deadline to apply? No deadline?
No, there is a deadline. It should be,
Oh, I have it, not you. Isn't that
Correct.
what your point is? Suggested deadline for submission of entries to the hometown mayor. So we'll go through Megan,
So it's March 9th,
March, stop.
suggested, always suggested.
So it's suggested,
It's
that's right.
suggested, so let's say by the middle of March, okay, I'm gonna ad lib there, by the middle of March, if we can get the applications, we have had residents win this award in the past,
it's a scholarship.
and it's $1,000 scholarship. I think we had back-to-back years somebody won it, I think so. But in either case, we're gonna put it on the website, right on the front page, and identify it. All right, so it's the Lewis Bay Second Future Municipal Leaders Scholarship Competition. That's what you'll see on the link. And we'll go with the middle of March. How's that? I know it's suggested March 9th, but we're gonna go crazy.
You're the mayor.
March 15th, how about that? March 15th we'll go. Or even, we'll say St. Patty's Day. That's easy to remember.
17th?
Highest of all.
The seventh, that's the highest of all holy days, Jack said. March 17th, that's the deadline, okay, Megan? There you go. That said, the meeting is open to the public. Remarks, statements pertaining to any matter. And if you could, please try to limit your comments or remarks to 3 minutes.
We'll see in 2026 if the mics work. Charles Arenowitz, Millington. One thank you, one comment, and one question. Short comments. First, let me thank Aubrey for her time and dedication to the township by serving on the township committee. Comment 1. The township committee received a notice of tort claim dated March 26, 2025, where the former public safety director, Michael Peoples, claimed a $2.5 million in damages against the township. This notice of tort claim was never filed in Superior Court. Based on this week's article in the Echo Sentinel entitled, quote, former public safety director sues Longville Township Police Department, end quote. Former public safety director Michael Peoples filed a civil suit against the township and the police department on December 31st, 2025, claiming, quote, a hostile work environment, end quote, and that he endured, quote, various unlawful acts of retaliation which culminated in his constructive termination, end quote. The lawsuit was filed in State Superior Court in Morristown, New Jersey. The filing requested a jury trial. In the filing, the amount of compensatory damages and punitive damages is left open to a professional evaluation. Question 1, directed to the Township Attorney Pigeon and/or Deputy Mayor Attorney Dorsey. If this civil suit goes to settlement before trial or goes to jury trial and Mr. Peoples is awarded judgment, Will these awarded damages be covered by Morris County's Joint Insurance Fund, commonly referred to as JIF? That's my one question for tonight. Mr. Pigeon.
I can tell you it's been submitted to the JIF. We have not heard back from them. The assumption is the JIF will defend the township. Beyond that, I really can't comment.
Is there a limit on the amount of claims that you can file in a year or the amount per claim by JIF?
Not to my knowledge. Because we have excess coverage. I'm not sure what it goes up to, but it's,
All right, if they don't cover it, who covers it?
the town would, but I'm
We,
sure
the
there's-
taxpayers, cover,
I'm
right?
sure I'm sure there's adequate coverage.
But you don't know if they're going to cover it. You just said that you don't know.
No, I'm sure they will cover it.
When will we
just have
find?
not gotten a response yet.
When will we find that out? Historically,
We should hear soon. I can't tell you an exact date.
soon, a year.
No, it won't be a year.
No, an answer has to be filed within a certain amount of time, I think
Within
35 days. so-
35 days. So we'll hear from them shortly.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey, do you want to add anything to Mayor
No, I
Pigeon?
think-
You, with your
we'll let
legal
Jack-
experience?
we'll let Jack
No, that's-
respond.
That's about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Anybody else present in the courtroom this evening?
The lady in the white sweater.
Seeing none,
Oh, I do have one thing to say. I forgot. I got this question. I spoke to the chief. I know ICE has been in the area. Again, the township, the police department, they don't know what ICE is doing, what they're doing, and how they're doing it. They don't notify any of us. And there was not an incident, but over the weekend, the police department was knocking on doors to tell people to move their cars for snow plowing, so they didn't want to give them a ticket or have their car towed. So our local police aren't looking to deport anybody. So I don't want people to be afraid to call 911 if they're hurt or injured or they're a victim of a crime. And I don't want anything bad to happen or go sideways if the police try to pull somebody over, our local police. Maybe just say, hey, you know what, your taillight's out, you got to get it fixed. I don't want something to go sideways where somebody might take off because they're scared or take off running and one of the people in the public or one of our officers gets hurt. Our local police are not looking to arrest and deport anybody. They're just looking to do their job. So don't be afraid to call 911. If you see the police officers outside your kid's school, they're there to help you, not to harm you. So don't be afraid to interact with them. That's not what they're here for. And again, if ICE is in the area, we don't know about it. And I'm not lying to you, we really don't. They do what they do. They don't tell us what's going on. I don't say us, meaning the Township Police Department. So please don't be afraid of our local police officers. They're here to help and serve you. Thank you.
Matt, thank you, that was great. Yeah, no. Megan, is there anybody online that would like to speak on any
Ansi
matter?
Patel would like to speak.
Thank you, Megan. Monzi, if you could, we know you, but if you could kindly state your name and address.
Hey, everybody, this is Monsi from Warren Avenue in Sterling. I actually wanted to ask a question related to ICE, Matt, so thank you for bringing that up. Not saying that Long Hill Township is acting as ICE, but wanted to see what your recommendations are when ICE inevitably does come to town. Is it appropriate for residents to be calling the police? I know that there are masked men and they do not have to necessarily identify themselves or have not been identifying themselves. So wanted to see what the township stance is on that.
That would be for the chief to answer that, no?
I mean, I'm fine with the chief, but federal law, local does not supersede federal law. We cannot impede any action, is my understanding. So Jack, I don't know if you
That's
want.
my understanding. And I believe that.
So I guess the recommendation that you guys are saying is that if a masked individual comes to our door and asks us to open our door, we should not be calling the 911 or Long Hill Township Police to assist?
No, you don't have to open the door either unless they have a warrant. So, yeah, I don't know what our police officers aren't going to go, and if they're not doing, if ICE isn't doing it illegal, they're not going to do anything about it. They can't. Just like they can't barge in your house for no reason either. So you don't have to open the door.
Don't they have to carry identification?
Yeah, I was gonna say they identify themselves
Yeah,
as
well,
ICE.
that's a whole different story. But yeah, they should, but who knows?
Well, they should, right? I think that's the problem here is that they don't necessarily identify themselves and they are using forcibly inviting themselves into people's homes.
Yeah, I don't want to pretend, I watch police shows on TV, so I don't want to pretend they know what I'm talking about. But Matt, I think what you said is 100% correct. Without a warrant, you don't need to let anybody come in your house.
Correct. As far as the laws I know, just like our police just can't go in your house for no reason. They can't say, let me in.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, so you don't have to let them in.
But if they have a warrant,
That's a different story.
let them in.
Then you better let them in.
In that famous Grateful Dead song, you got a warrant, I guess you're coming in. So Monty, I apologize. I don't know if we cut you off there.
Nope, sounds like if they have a warrant or don't have a warrant, if they would like to forcibly enter someone's home, thinking, maybe if a child were to answer the door and just open the door, let them in without thinking or knowing better.
Advice to
No,
Sounds like we can-
contact the
I don't
civil
think
rights
we
attorney at that point,
answer
because,
hypotheticals as to how
Yeah.
we should respond to ICE.
I would say,
Sure.
one thing that I will say, you said if a masked man comes to your door, which you didn't specify whether the person was a law enforcement officer or not, I would tell my wife to call the police and have them come over. A masked man that's not identifying themselves is a scary, or a woman, a masked person, is a scary situation, and I would probably, myself, I would call 911.
I don't believe that, from the stories that we're seeing online, I don't believe that they are identifying themselves. From the experiences that I have heard, they're also covering the ring doorbells and forcibly trying to get into homes, even when they are told to please go away. So just hoping that Long Hill Township will be one of the township, and the police department as well will be one of the police departments that does help residents in need.
So Monty, in fairness, I think this body and our police chief can only opine on what happens within our borders. Are you referring to an incident or incidents in Long Hill Township, or stuff you're reading about?
I'm not referring to Long Hill, I'm referring
Fair enough.
to neighboring towns.
Then
So.
I would defer to what Jack just said. We really don't have any opinion on what happens in other towns. In our town, we rely on our outstanding police department and outstanding police chief, and we defer to them. So if you hear of something within Long Hill Township, by all means, bring it to our attention, or have the resident bring it to our attention.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Monty.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Miss Megan?
If anybody else on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second, third.
No, I can't second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Did I hand you the
Let the
things I
record
need to
show
sign?
that Jack,
Mike,
Jack cannot
Mike.
second that motion.